Sometimes, a simple trade says much more than it seems. No stars involved. No blockbuster package with multiple players. Just a name that was once a promise. One of those promises that carried the weight of an entire project, and now becomes a past. Quiet, melancholic. Oswald Peraza is out of the Yankees. And with that, more than just closing an individual cycle, the Yankees might be revealing something much bigger. That the time for patience is over. That the plan of internal rebuilding has been officially abandoned. That urgency won. The news came directly, without drama. Jack Curry of the Yes Network broke it. The Yankees traded Peraza to the Los Angeles Angels. Shortly after, Joel Sherman of the New York Post completed the picture. In return, New York receives young outfield prospect Wilberson De Peña and a sum of money tied to the international bonus pool. And that's it. Trade done. Files closed. Page turned. But it's not quite that simple. Because when you look closely with a bit more attention, you realize this isn't just a background move. It's the kind of trade that reveals the emotional and strategic state of a franchise. It shows where the fears are, the frustrations, and most importantly, the plans that didn't work out. Peraza, after all, wasn't just any player in the Yankee system. He was a pillar of hope, a face featured in reports, rankings, and projections from a very young age. One of those names fans learned to defend, even when the results didn't show up. And someone the club itself sold as part of the new generation that would change the Bronx. The truth is, Peraza was always in Volpe's shadow, and that took its toll. Volpe became the darling of the fans, the front office, the media. When Peraza was first called up in 2022, the comparison was already there, silent but present. Still, he's surprised. Despite still playing at a high level during that late season represents a .306 batting average. OBP over .400, solid field presence. It was just 57 plate appearances, true, but it was enough to ignite the imagination of the most hopeful fans. The new Yankees shortstop seemed to have finally arrived. But then 2023 came, and with it, the harsh reality of Major League Baseball. Pitchers adjusted. Swing tweaks didn't work. Opportunities dwindled. And with them, so did confidence. His OPS plummeted to .506 across more than 120 games. And if there was still any hope for a bounce back, 2025 shattered that illusion. A .152 batting average, just 2 hits in 10 games, an OBP that was nearly non-existent. A player who couldn't hit anymore, and worse, had no place left to play. And here comes the coldest, yet inevitable, part of the business. Peraza was out of minor league options. That meant the Yankees could no longer stash him in Scranton Wilkes-Barre, waiting for improvement away from the spotlight. He had to be on the major league roster, or be traded. And the coaching staff had already made the call. There was no more room. What followed was almost mechanical. Peraza was included in a trade with the Angels, who sent back a very early stage prospect, Wilberson De Peña, and a sum of international bonus pool money. For the Yankees, this move served a dual purpose. Offload a roster dilemma and open up a slot for the reinforcement that truly mattered at this point in the season. David Bednar, the new closer coming from the Pittsburgh Pirates. In this scenario, Peraza became a trade chip. And it's no exaggeration to say his market value at this moment was the lowest since he signed professionally. The 25-year-old who was once ranked in every respected MLB top 100 list was now seen as surplus. A poorly fitted puzzle piece. An uncomfortable reminder that not every prospect becomes a star. But don't be fooled into thinking the story ends here. The Angels are off the radar right now. Our team's searching for identity. The departure of Ohtani, the aging of Trout, years of questionable decisions. All of it has left a technical and emotional void in Los Angeles. And that's where Peraza fits. Not as a definitive solution, but as a chance to rediscover what was lost. Because despite all his offensive struggles, he remains a spectacular defender. In 2025, he racked up 4 defensive runs saved at third base. That's not a small thing. It's the kind of number that makes a coach pause and think, if he can just hit a little bit, he's worth it. Beyond that, the environment in Los Angeles is different. Less pressure, fewer cameras, fewer headlines. There, Peraza can breathe, can fail, can experiment, and that makes a huge difference for young players who've lost their confidence. Sometimes, all an athlete needs is to leave the noise of New York to rediscover their own rhythm. From the Yankees' perspective, the reading is pragmatic. Peraza no longer fit. Wilberson De Peña may never fit. But the roster spot now belongs to David Bednar, one of the top closers this season, straight from Pittsburgh. And along with him came Jake Bird, a righty from the Colorado Rockies. Quietly, the Yankees are rebuilding their bullpen. They're clearing space. They're picking up the pace to strengthen weaker areas before it's too late. The fans have already gotten the message. This is no longer a team that waits. It's a team that acts. Still, there's an emotional layer that can't be ignored, because Peraza represents something bigger. He's a symbol of a generation that was sold as the Yankees' homegrown solution and never materialized. He's the echo of the Frazier, Andujar, Tyler Wade era. All of them talented, all of them overexposed, all of them crushed by expectation. And that leads to the inevitable question: to what extent does a Yankees environment allow young players to thrive? The truth is, baseball in New York is different. The pressure is daily. Comparisons are brutal. And time is scarce. If you don't prove yourself in 30 days, there's already another name in line. And if you haven't broken out by 25, it's hard to get another shot in that uniform. Still, it hurts. Because Peraza's talent was real. The defense is solid. The instincts sharp. The physique ready. What was missing was the right fit at the right time. There was no space, no patience, and maybe no luck. Now, with the Yankees acquiring De Peña, the hope changes face. The prospect is young, has speed and some offensive projection, but he's far from a majors. The most valuable part of the trade might be the international bonus money. The Yankees have a history of investing heavily in that market, and they could use that money to lock in new Latin American talent before the competition does. It's a strategic move. Quiet, yes, but promising. And the future? Well, the future holds even bigger moves. This trade was just one more piece fitting into the puzzle. With Bednar arriving, Bird integrated, and players like Brian De La Cruz already being cleared off the roster, it's clear the Yankees are retooling. The next trade window could bring a big bat, maybe an outfielder, maybe a third baseman. The only certainty is that the waiting is over. Fans need to understand this. The Yankees are in win-now mode. And when a team enters that mode, decisions like Peraza's departure stop being emotional and become operational. If he doesn't help in October, he's gone. Simple as that. But before we wrap up, it's worth pausing for a moment. Because behind the numbers, there's a human being. A Venezuelan kid who joined the Yankee system very young. Who grew up hearing he was the franchise's future. Who debuted in 2022 as a promise and now, 3 years later, says goodbye as almost anonymous. That his story in New York was brief doesn't diminish what he represents. The dream that many have, but few get to live. And you? What did you think of this trade? Were the Yankees too harsh? Does Peraza still have a future with the Angels? And who do you think will be the next name to leave or arrive in New York as the trade deadline approaches? Comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications because the season is heating up and there's a lot more to come. And stay tuned. When the Yankees start cutting to bone, it means the heart of the Bronx is about to beat even louder.